D-Mark got that heat.
What you saying now? I'm the man now. I be flying in the bird when I land down. Bands on bands now, I got hella fans now. Chopper hit 'em, we call that a man down. I keep them racks on me, but I don't rap for free. They say that I'm Hollywood, it don't bother me. Bitch, please don't follow me, I don't do no following. Only taking phone calls when that money calling me. Choppers as tall as me, ballin' I gotta be. Niggas acting like bitches always got the tick. White on me, yo Gotti inspired me. I was just a youngin' trying to get it, yeah we gotta eat. First it be fiery, make these niggas get tired of me. You a worker, I'm a boss, nigga, you can't fire me. Keep green like celery, dodging all of these felonies. Killing them with my melodies, going hard like on every beat. Shot it, thought it forever be. Fans, they keep on telling me that I'm the hardest in the street. Wait till I hit the industry. At first they wasn't feeling me, now these bitches, they feeling me. I'm on top where the ceiling be. They done made my night hearing me, but what you saying now? I'm the man now. I be flying in the bird when I land down. Bands on bands now, I got hella fans now. Chopper hit 'em, we call that a man down. I keep them racks on me, but I don't rap for free. They say that I'm Hollywood, it don't bother me. Bitch, please don't follow me, I don't do no following. Only taking phone calls when that money calling me.
What's going on, everybody? Good evening, good night. Hope y'all had a good day. I appreciate y'all joining us to another episode of the Gun Line. This podcast is for everything 2A, for all things in the 2A community. Trying to educate, inform, and teach those along the way. I'm your host, Banks.
What is this, a sermon? And teach those things along the way.
I'm your host,
Banks. Minister Banks.
AKA Sig's my side chick.
Wait a minute.
And I got everybody joining us. I'm gonna go from my top right with Ken and Aisha, aka I just lost money on a bet.
Because of goddamn Kevin Durant. Ken, aka Superior, aka what's about that again? The God, I guess.
Oh, all right. That's how you feel?
I'm kidding. It's a joke. If Yeezy can do it, I can do it.
I'm just gonna be Aisha. I don't have no AKAs. I'm just Aisha.
And we got
That's it.
Then we got Bailey, aka Mrs. Banks, down there.
Mrs. Banks, half of Lady Virginia Tactical or Lady BTSA.
And last but not least, we got Mr. Richard Turner of Black Rose Urban Shooter, aka, in his own words, the best instructor in Virginia.
Yeah, right. That's
Self-proclaimed
right.
top dog. I know him as my second husband outside of Keem up there. Keem right there. But anyway.
That show argue like y'all married.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that with him today.
Glock's better. No, it's Sig. Shut up. I can shoot better than you. Nuh-uh.
So,
well, I mean, the first and the second one can be proven. So, I mean, that's all we got to do.
Oh, here we go. There you go. There go the trigger.
Richard, meet me at the property right now.
Quite naturally, I'm not going there today. But no, seriously, everybody, thank y'all for joining us. We got such a big show. Super excited. Hakeem's now with us. It's his boo thing, his baby.
Boo thing's birthday.
Birthday. He ain't with us tonight, but that's
Happy
all right.
birthday, Rose.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Shout out Rose.
Keem trying to make baby number 2 tonight.
Oh Lord.
Man, so no, man, we got a couple things to talk about tonight, man. First thing, we want to
How you get the podcast?
we want to shout out Hampton, man. We just left there this weekend for the Hampton Gun Show. We had a great time out there. Man, it was busy, man. It was good to see everybody out there. So we definitely appreciate all of those who supported us, out there, and even just came in and talked to us and fellowship and whatnot, and it was just a good time. We always love going down to the 757. We'd be right back down there in April. So definitely that's much love. We respect and love y'all down there. But yeah, so let's get right into it. I got my apple pie moonshine tonight.
Thanks for some.
Yeah, Kennedy got that milk over there.
Similac.
Some of that.
She got that almond milk. This get my face.
Oh,
That's like expensive as hell.
Some of that good stuff over there.
If the Similac people are listening to this podcast, can you please lower the prices of your product? I should not be able to choose if I want to feed my baby or be able to get to the store to feed my baby.
Shout out to Richard for eating the salad. We all trying to get. But yeah, man. So let's get right into it, man. So I'm gonna start off with the trending topics right now in the two-way community. Of course, everybody know. Gas is on everybody's mind, right? Everybody's feeling it to some sort. But then we got a guy, named John Collins, right? If you don't know John Collins, that's fine because don't nobody else do. He tweeted out this afternoon, gas is still cheaper than all the guns that you don't need. And I said, well, hell with that guy. I was like, I'm not even about to get into that that.
Well, one, that's just a dumb comparison. Like,
but the screwed up part about it is, right, he actually a couple weeks ago had a tweet, about the Ukrainians and how they're so patriotic, in defending that capital instead of attacking it. And yeah, I guess I understand the sentiment, but it sure would be a lot easier defending that capital with some guns, right? But I said, look, man, I don't know what you guys think about that, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that thinks like that as well, which is very unfortunate.
I feel as though we should definitely let Richard weigh in on that, being as though he has been first time on the podcast. We'd love to hear from him in love regards.
Richard, what you drinking over there?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
No,
okay.
I don't pay attention to these politicians, man, because every time we have an election, the first thing they yell is gun control, and they do that intentionally, and guns fly off the shelf. So I really ain't paying attention to them at all. They can say whatever they want to say. Joe Biden don't know the difference between an AR-15 and a shotgun. All right, so
that's a fact.
They got nothing to say about him, right? He think he can defend himself with a single shot shotgun. Show me, but
You know, I said, you know, I feel somewhat for those guys over there, but I'm sure it'd be a lot easier if those guys had some weapons of their own to defend themselves. So I feel like a lot of that stuff is misplaced, and I feel like a lot of the times these politicians end up contradicting themselves in some way or form. You know, to that point, you know, about Ukraine, right? Um, they have came out and said they will offer $2,000 per day to help fight Putin and take their country back. So all you Kyle Rittenhouses of the world, here's your chance.
Wow.
I mean,
well, let's just jump straight into it. Why don't we?
The people that wanted to defend somebody else's shit, there you go, and you're gonna get paid for it. You know, I feel like it's a bold move. You know, and obviously they feel like, damn, they can't count on anybody else. You know, to offer her, you know, $2,000 a day. The question is, are any of you going over there?
No. I speak for myself. I will not be joining them. I will not be filling out that application.
That's 60,000 a month, though. I mean,
no.
I mean,
that's only 60,000 if you survive, though.
Right?
Like if you make it to the end of the
that's
month.
only 2,000 if you survive.
You're right.
You can literally go over there and get murdered right there.
As soon as you step foot off the plane, shots fired. No, ma'am, I will not be going.
You know, I feel like, I mean, that is most certainly a cry for help. You know, anytime you willing to employ Western mercenaries, you know, on your behalf to fight, you know, on behalf of your country, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a big deal, you know. But for $2,000 a day, I mean, nah. I mean, I'm still good, you know, regardless. You know, but I'm sure some people that say, you know, the hell with it, I'm going. And that's why I said, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse, here's your chance, man.
They might need to get those farmers that's still in them tanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead and apply them.
I don't know if any of you guys saw the video of the farmers taking that missile and strapping it up to their tractors and taking it away. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but you know, hell. I just feel like that's pretty interesting, you know, what's going on in the world right now. Let's see what else we got. Of course, we know, you know, Springfield just had a new release, you know, this week. You know,
garbage.
Yeah, the Hellcat Pro.
You're gonna call everything garbage. If it ain't Glock, you're gonna call it garbage. So
well, I will for once agree somewhat with Richard, because will the Hellcat Pro be as booty cheeks as its predecessor? You know, that's the real question. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Only the range will tell. You know, I mean, I do have one coming in later this week. You know, it's gonna be hard not to give it a try. But based on the videos and the promos that I've been seeing, I feel like it's just a bigger, you know, it's really just a bigger Hellcat. You know, I mean, obviously
it is.
But, I mean,
well, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that they maybe they revamped it a little bit. You got to give it a shot, though. You know,
they basically did what Sig did with the 365 XL, except for like you still have the same length slide, you just got a longer grip. Like it's just considered a pro and it's upgraded. I mean, it's really no super difference in it, to be honest.
I mean, but much like anything new out here on the market, you know, those will be one of the first things to go. We've already getting requests for them already. And there are some heavy duty Hellcat lovers out there, who swears by their Hellcat. Uh,
That's because they ain't got nothing else.
well, I mean, well, quite possibly, that was their first gun. They in love with, is near and dear to the heart, but I'm not a fan, But we'll get this on the range and we'll see how we like it or dislike it.
All right, and the next topic will be.
What's funny? I've been looking for that sound bite for a long time, and I just can't get it. So it's nothing better than the real thing.
Oh, y'all heard me.
What you racking over there?
That thing.
We know it's a Glock. Well, which one is it?
Which Glock is it? Like it ain't even. What's
it?
The
34?
No, it's a 48.
Oh man. So let's see, man. Got so much to talk about, man. I said let's get back into it. Well, the gun of the month from Cabot Guns is the 1911, right? I mean, I feel like the 1911. There's so many people out here that love the 1911. I'm not I can't even lie to the people. I'm like, I haven't shot 1911s a whole lot, but those who like them, those who shoot them, they rave about them. I think Richard, aren't you a 1911 fan or something?
Not the only one. I mean, I think it's a good gun, but I'm not going out and buying a 1911. Haven't bought a 1911. Got a stigma attached to it that I just can't shake.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. And that's a fair point. I've been saying it for a while. But Ken wants a 1911. I'm just not the biggest of those fans. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
But they do look pretty, especially when they got the stainless steel and all of that type of stuff. I mean, I will say they do look pretty.
They're nice.
They're gorgeous guns. I mean,
no, the 2011, the staccatos, like I do
staccatos.
I do like those. I mean, when we went to SHOT Show and had an opportunity to get them in the head, I mean, they were some very fluent firearms. I mean, they felt great. Obviously, I've still yet to have the opportunity to shoot them, but it felt good, very well machined, But I don't know. But anyway, that's February's gun of the month. Last month before that was the Glock 43X, and believe it or not, I do want a Glock 43X. One of these days, I do plan on getting one. We will see. But you'd be happy, Richard. Today I was really considering going to spend the money on that Glock 34.
Right. I mean, what you gonna do with a Glock 34?
I don't know. I was probably just gonna look at it. Or just have it in my range bag and still shoot my shit.
Well, ain't no.
But I was really considering though. I mean, I was like, do I really want a Glock 34 or a Glock 17? I mean, Ken has the Glock 17, and I just I don't know. I shoot well with it. What's the biggest difference? What's the biggest difference to you, Richard? Like between the 17 and the 34, though. Like, do you really feel a difference between the two models?
At this point, I really can't tell. I mean, I shoot them both the same. So, I mean, I think the recoil mitigation is a little bit better on the 34 than say the 17. But outside of that, I mean, and it's not a big difference for me. Outside of that, it's pretty much the same sight picture, same trigger control.
I mean, I said I was going to really. I don't know. I want to get a chance to shoot them both a little bit more, any types of decisions like that. But I am considering, adding a new gun, to train with out on the range. But I don't know. Anyway.
Get a Taurus.
There you go. That thing shoots very well on the range. You're right.
Right, sometimes.
No. You know what? That's fine. I'll take sometimes. You endorse it. That's all I needed to hear.
Sometimes.
So Richard calls the Taurus the black man's Glock, and I mean Taurus is it's a very popular gun right now. The G2Cs, G3Cs, the G3Xs, the GX4s. All of those right now. I feel like, to be perfectly honest though, Richard, like you gotta admit, like for the price point, which unfortunately a lot of the people, right now only have that.
For first time gun owners, that's a very nicely affordable gun.
Right. I mean, my saying, I don't really care how much a gun costs. If it go bang when I pull the trigger, I'm gonna run it. So I mean, I talk trash. I got my preference, but if I like to drive Corvettes and you like to drive, Sentras, I mean, them cars they go in the same direction. We doing the same thing. We good. Some people like to drive Ferraris. I ain't never drove a Ferrari, but I know people that like to drive them. So if it go bang when you pull the trigger, it's a good gun, and I'm gonna do the same thing with it that I do with what I prefer. So
now that is the most toned down I have ever heard. Those who are watching and who have been in our class.
No, like put it this way: Richard talks worse about the Taurus than what we would talk about the High Point. That's like that. That's how Richard feels about the Taurus.
I mean, they're the same thing.
No, but you can't say that. Not even close.
Hey, listen, real talk. I'm gonna run the High Point. If people talk about the High Point.
Oh, here you go.
Look,
there you go. If it go bang bang,
most malfunctions. If it go bang, I'm gonna shoot it. I mean, if I can get a rock to go 700 feet per second, I'm slinging that motherfucker. I mean, it ain't nothing else I'm gonna do with it, right? But I mean, people talk about the High Point. Most of the errors with the High Point is user error. I mean, you got people that don't know what they're doing with guns. I mean, most of the guns are, they pretty much they're gonna do the same thing. All right,
the goal is to do the same thing.
What?
The goal is to do the same thing. Go bang. That's not always the case.
All right. Well, I mean, I know
that's just right. You said all the malfunctions of a High Point is
all fire. Most firearms malfunctions are user error.
User error.
Well, if that's the case, shout out High Point, man. I'm about to be the number one selling.
No.
I'm just you heard it here first. Right. I'm just gonna say,
what you said is you, not the gun.
Right. I mean, a Taurus, it's a good starter gun for someone that doesn't want to pay a lot for a firearm or want to spend that money for that 1911 to be a first gun or whatever the case may be. So what we're saying is it's a good gun to start off with and not have a lot of trouble like a High Point and be good.
I know people that had High Points for 15 years,
and it's still a brick and it's still plastic.
All right, so let me ask you then, Richard. So, do you feel like if, regardless of what people say, we're educating them on the firearms and everything like that, do you think it's okay if somebody, as a first-time gun owner, first-time shooter, just getting into guns, to spend $500 plus on a gun?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Why not?
I mean,
what are you stepping into, right? A gun is a gun, right? You go practice same fundamentals. You go practice the same thing with a High Point that you do with $2,000 staccato, right? The gun may feel better, right, when you shooting it. It may have smoother functions, but at the end of the day, you're doing the same thing with it. So why would you start off if you can run? Why start off walking?
Well, okay, all right. So I see what you're saying. So now, if you can, afford it, right? Then by all means, right? I mean, I didn't say necessarily a Glock. But
Yeah.
it could be a cig. You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
No,
Or, but if you can afford it, then I would say step up and get something that is going to do and serve you well. You know, but a lot of the times, you know, people don't necessarily have $600,
right.
to start off with a weapon, But some people do genuinely want to learn. Now, in my opinion, my professional opinion, you know, it was few and far in between. Um, but now, more recently, more people are starting to come around and try to get some type of training. Anyway, we getting off topic, right? We gonna double back to this, right? So
I do want to say that we don't buy guns based upon skill level because the most
What's up?
guns are always gonna outshoot the shooter. Right. So I mean, skill level really don't have anything to do with the purchase. The gun is always going to be more adequate than the shooter anyway. The guns are capable of, tremendous, even a high point. I mean, the accuracy that it's capable of is, so Taurus. I mean, standard, industry standard.
so score two for high point.
No, not. I mean, it's a gun, bro. We scoring for the gun in general. We
Yeah.
scoring for the gun in general.
Um. So I got an interesting topic there that I've been wanting to talk about the last several weeks, and then and specifically that's with the Remington Arms and the Sandy Hook families, that settlement for over $73 million. Um, you know, a lot of people see that and they just read it and go about their business. But for me, one being a gun dealer, I'm not a manufacturer um, of anything right now. However, what does that mean? To the 2A community, um, that Remington is liable or settle with these individuals over something that they realistically had no control over. I feel like that's a big L, for the 2A community. Um, Thoughts on the matter?
Um, I I completely agree. um, because you can't predict what is going to be done with a firearm that is manufactured by Glock or Remington or Winchester or Taurus or whatever. Um, because if you're honestly saying that person had a valid case, then everybody that lost someone would find whatever gun that their loved one or whatever was lost to, and then they say, "Well, I'm gonna sue this company because they made this gun." It's like,
I,
how do you honestly make that to where it's? I get it to a point of why they won, because they're I feel like they're sympathizing with the families and the loved ones, and um, by no means in any way, shape, or form, would I want that to be a situation for myself or anybody that I know, any loved ones or friends, anything like that. But for that to be the settlement, it's just, hey, such and such massacre happened, such and such. Hey, let's just go sue Remington. It's like, oh well, what do we have to do with it? Well, you made the gun the guy, unfortunately committed all those murders with.
no,
So I was reading it. I'm sorry, babe, I didn't cut
no,
you
go
off.
ahead.
But I was reading it, and from what the couple articles had in similarities was they had issues on the marketing of said firearm that was used in the Sandy Hook massacre,
Yeah, I
or
read that as well.
mass shooting. And I mean, I'm pretty sure Remington didn't say, "Hey, anybody come get this gun," without a background check. So I'm not sure. I wanted to find exactly what marketing or they had an issue with, but it's, for some reason I couldn't really find the transcripts on the case. They haven't released those, and then of course Remington didn't release a lot of things, so that's why they settled to pay out those families. So I'm not even sure what the case was. However, like so we do sympathize with those families. You know, that is a hard thing to, swallow. However, you know, I don't blame them for attempting to sue Remington or, well, becoming winners of Remington. I really blame our the federal legislature. Like, this person who was mentally ill was able to buy a firearm. And, we go through these things with background checks all the time anyway. And we've seen instances where, one of our customers has gotten declined because of a mental illness. And we didn't even know until we went to court and they said it out loud. And we was like, oh, okay. Because we couldn't figure out why he got released said day, after he tried to purchase a firearm. So there's a lot of things that goes into play besides just Remington releasing a firearm getting sued. So there's other things that we need to find to really figure out what marketing those families had an issue with.
I saw it.
You did? Okay, I couldn't find it.
If you go to when you look up the court case and you go to the images, I saw what it was, and it wasn't. Mind you, this was 2012, so this was like 10 years ago.
Right.
So for the time period, and not to dismiss this, but just for the time frame, that was probably pretty accurate marketing. Like, it was something along the lines of, you got your man card back by purchasing, this, if you get this gun, basically you got your man card back. And I mean, during that time frame and even before then, that was pretty on spot marketing. And to me, it wasn't really about aiming towards people who had low self-esteem. It was just, that was their aim, to tell you, this is going to give you, you're going to be able to be the dude. You're going to be the dude with the gun. Like, that was how it came off to me. But I know that they were able to use that for that purpose. And it's irritating because the issue, like we talked about, they're not really dealing with the bigger issue, like the real issue. Like, this is the cause or the symptom of what the main issue is, and that's mental illness. This person had mental illness. They knew that he was having some problems, and nobody addressed it. Like, they just let it go, and they just assumed that everything was going to be okay. But clearly, it wasn't. So I feel like everybody keeps sweeping under the rug. Like, the main people that keep committing these atrocities are white males with mental illness. And
claim they got a mental illness.
Right.
I mean, regardless of what it is, but that's who it is. Like, it's not common for, Black people or Asian people or Hispanic people to go and do mass suicide or mass massacres like this. That's not something that is typical for those races. It's typical for white males. That's who usually, commits those crimes. So that's really the underlying issue, is trying to avoid addressing that problem. That's the problem that you need to address by suing this gun manufacturer. I mean, you could sue every gun manufacturer out there. That's not going to address the root problem. Right. Somebody's still going to be able to go in if they got a mental illness, because nobody wants to say anything, and be able to buy the gun. And then if you set them off, go shoot somebody. You winning this court case is not going to address that problem.
Well, I just feel like that this opens up the floodgates, not only for the gun industry, but, multiple other industries. For example, Jeep right now is getting sued because somebody rear-ended another car and ended up killing the child in the back seat of that car. And so now Jeep is getting sued for that because the vehicle or that model of Jeep did not have the assisted braking that is optional. You don't have to get it, in your car or in your Jeep, But I just feel that, kind of leading to a snowball effect, in all industries right now. And how can Jeep be liable for somebody else not paying attention? It's the same thing, And I don't know. I just feel like, regardless of the marketing, behind it, there's still laws behind all of that, And so I don't know. I just feel like it's an L. It's a big L right now. Richard, what you think? What's your take
I
on
would say, come on, Richard. I see your wheels turning over there.
Right. I mean, I believe in responsible gun ownership. Right. I mean, just you know, protecting, do what we can to protect the people and to not infringe upon our ability to maintain the Second Amendment. Right. Um, Definitely, man. Like I just couldn't imagine being in that situation with those kids and those teachers and everybody that was there. Couldn't imagine being a family of the person who perpetrated the violence. Right? Who's to blame for it? I mean, I don't know, man. Society's in a different place right now. I mean, we let violence go like it's nothing. Like I mean, we
Mhm.
if Remington is guilty for marketing, I mean, every action movie that ever came out is guilty for marketing
Every
violence, right? Like,
it?
game,
Right. Exactly.
you know what I mean? So
movie.
I mean, we got to teach compassion in life. I mean, what I mean, amongst other things, right? I mean, just to make things work because I mean, the shit is definitely fucking sad. I don't care how you put it. You know,
Um, you're right. It is a sad situation. Of course, all of us, kind of remember when all of that stuff happened, right? Um, I don't know. I just don't feel like Remington should be held liable. But I look at things a little bit differently. There's some on the other side of that that say, yeah, they should. I don't know, but moving on, right? Moving on to the next topic, man. And it's kind of stemming from last week's conversation. I know, Richard and I had a conversation, a couple of days ago. Um, just going through a couple things in our mind, um, revolving, the black community as a whole, and the the second, amendment community. I feel like we should be able to uh, come together a lot more, than we have been in this community, you know, which leads me to ask the question again, why don't we train, right? Why do we not feel like it's a necessity, as it was put, why are we only, you know, for the most part, consumers, and like we tell everybody all the time, buying the gun, buying the firearm or the weapon, that's really just the first part, you know. There's so many people that we talk to on a daily, weekly basis, monthly, that they tell us that they fine, they good, and we ask them like, have you ever taken a safety class? No, well, how is it that you feel that you're good, that you squared away, and then ultimately get yourself in a situation you didn't discharge the weapon, not making sure that it was clear, you didn't hurt somebody or yourself, or you don't got a concealed weapon permit, but you got your Glock, tucked in your drawers, and why? But the question is though, why is it that we feel so strongly that we don't need any type of training, or assistance when it comes to firearms? I mean, anybody got to answer? Like, what is the mindset, behind all of this?
I'm gonna just speak for some of the people. Just think they know everything, and those are the ones you can't really tell anything to. The ones that say, "Yeah, I've shot before," or "I used to shoot years ago with my folks," but that's to me that's not enough for anybody.
You know, I don't want us to be consumers only. You know, just like you got the gun, and right now, black gun ownership is at all time high. We are all excited to about these guns, and we see the new guns, and we see the content creators with the new guns out, and overall we're getting excited, again about firearms, and more so to a larger scale, and I feel like that's good, to a certain extent, but what's next? What's in store, for all of us? How can we bring that same energy, to a class, and actually get some good training in, so you do feel more confident with that firearm, not more so than that you would be more willing to go out there and use that firearm, but just in case you do get in a situation, and even just in the sport of shooting, you know um what's I mean, I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet, man. What, Richard? I'm interested in your thoughts on the matter.
I don't know, man. The gun in the black community, it's had a very long stigma, right? Um, so I mean, we are just getting to a point where it's okay to be black and to have a gun, all right? Like we history has pushed us back,
Barely.
but barely, right? Barely, right? But it's becoming more acceptable. I mean, we
Right.
got African American women, black. We got sisters walking around now with 15 guns in their purse, right? And legally doing so, right? Um, we got sisters getting training. I mean, the sisters get training, the brothers don't. I don't know if
Well,
it's
that's a fair statement. That is
right,
a fair statement.
right. The sisters get training. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Um, I don't know if it's an intimidation factor. I don't know if it's I don't want you to tell me what to do. I don't want to, be vulnerable to show that I don't know what to do. But I think for a lot of people, though, especially the younger generation, the gun is not really. The gun is merely a feeling of safety, right? They get it. They post it on Instagram, and their whole thing is to pretty much just keep people up off them. They don't want no problems. They don't really got no intention on using it, right? They just want to show it off and let you know that
They got
don't
it.
mess with me, right? Don't mess with me. I got a tool too, right? So they ain't got no problems. They don't really want to use it, right? Well, I mean, what is the gun other than the feeling of safety? If that's all you get it for, you purchase a gun for personal defense. Are you waiting for that knock at the door to happen, or for that person to make that threat, and it never happens, right? I mean, I say it all the time. If you don't use the gun often, you're gonna forget how to use it, right? You should
Yeah.
shoot and shoot often. So, I mean, if you're waiting for those things, you might be waiting your whole life, and it might not happen. You still don't know how to use a gun.
And then we get those customers too. I try to carry a small conversation upon checkout, and I say, hey, actually they're gonna do training. No, I just bought this gun, for the house. Well, do you know what type of ammunition you need? Well, I want to get a lockbox. Well, you're gonna lock it up, but what if you need to get to it? That 0.5 seconds means everything.
Right.
So you don't know when you're gonna need that firearm. Dude, how does this lock work? I try to say it safe, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. You're never gonna use that lock that's in that box that come with that firearm. If your main goal is to protect your home, then why lock the gun up and put it away? Or why not tell your children that you have the gun? It defeats the purpose of you having that firearm, because you never know, something could be happening to you. You got to tell your child to go get that gun, or you can't get to it quick enough, and that's not going to be a good ending for you or whatever you're trying, who you've been trying to protect at the same time. So there's a lot of things people have to think about and consider when purchasing a firearm. Yeah, it's good to have for protection, but like you said, you need to know how to use it. Just because you know how to rack the slide and pull the trigger don't mean you're going to penetrate the target. It don't work like that.
The most frustrating part about it, is we get a lot of people that come in the shop or calls and say, "Hey, man, I want to know, y'all got ammunition?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we got ammo. What type of ammo do you need?" Some will say, "Hold on," while they go figure it out. Well, I got a 9. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get some 9 bullets. And I'm like, yeah, I got some 9 mil for you. Or we ask a person, hey, what gun you got? I got a 9. Okay. What 9? I think it's a Glock. Okay.
Every gun is a Glock. Every gun is a Glock.
Oh my gosh.
That jump be a Ruger, and they be like, "Someone, I got a Glock."
Yeah, right. No, but that's true.
They wanted a Glock, but they had to settle with a Ruger.
Actual facts.
Anyway, that is not a fact.
Yes, it was. It's true. People call it. I don't know what I got. I think it's a Glock. Now, come on, there. I get that question.
And look, they got.
Now, unfortunately, he's not wrong, because in the black community, you could ask somebody, "What do you know? What's familiar to you?" Let's say a Glock and a SIG, a Glock, a Glock and a Taurus, a Glock.
Oh, I don't know, man. Taurus right now, man. Hey, Taurus is the new Glock.
There is not a person in the United States that you can't count 15 people. You can't throw a rock at anybody that don't know who Glock is right now. Even if you don't own a gun, you still know who Glock is.
You know who Glock is, right? You go ask a person.
You know what a Glock is. You know who Glock is.
That's the first manufacturer from the mouth.
That's the first manufacturer. Have still a gun, right? No hate. Listen.
I'm sorry. What was you saying?
Anyway,
Richard. You can't, man. You can't do nothing about it, man.
Look, Richard, I ain't gonna hit it.
Right? You get what I'm saying? You can't do anything about it.
Sean wanted that Glock shirt too.
Sean got
I just got myself choked. Shit.
You can't do nothing about it, man. I mean, you can hate on it all day, but NPR did a special in 2012. I just
everybody, whether you're a novice, intermediate, advanced, you're familiar with the word Glock in the gun community,
right? And I mean, I talk about guns, but
you just are like, it's all, man, I got that Glock, bro.
I talk about other manufacturers, but I mean, really, when you break down other manufacturers, it's the same parts in the same place. They pretty much just Glock clones. It ain't no real big difference. I mean, a gun is a gun at this point in American society. Other than Ruger is a robot, and you got to take his legs off, his arms off, his neck off, and put it back together. Right, Ruger always got some stupid moving parts. I mean,
with the roll eye emoji.
Right. No, but back to your point, Sean. Though, I mean, I think a part of the problem is too. I mean, as an instructor, when I go shooting in different places, I'm the only one there, and I'm wondering if the people not training and practicing. Right, we got shooting sports. Everybody want to be tactical and self-defense. I think they might be outside, like, I don't know, rallying with the people or whatever, because they ain't in places that, you can actually practice some of the things that you need to practice, right? I'm the only black person there most of the time. I mean, I'm the only black instructor there for sure. I'm wondering where they at.
Well, I know for me, one thing it could definitely be, and it's probably a lot of people that can also relate to it, is it could be an intimidation factor that plays the part. Because like, if we just keeping it a stack, as we said we're gonna do on the podcast, how long has the Caucasian male been running the firearm industry?
How did not no more though?
Not anymore. But if you said not anymore, but if you're being programmed over decades and decades and decades that you shouldn't have a gun, you shouldn't have a gun, you shouldn't have a gun, I don't have a right to have a gun, I don't have a right to have a gun. If that's what you're being sold on, is what I'm saying, then it's gonna be an intimidation factor when you go into Green Top, when you go into certain areas where it's predominantly 90% of a white man in there doing the training, buying the firearms, answering the questions, different things like that.
When the last time you been to Green Top?
I went 2 weeks ago.
Because they be having lines of black people in there jump buying guns.
Now they do. Now they do. But that's what I'm saying. You weren't going to see that 10 years ago. And like I said, the only reason you say that you're having a line of black people is because we all looked it up. Statistically, yes, black gun ownership is at all-time high. So everybody wants a gun now.
Right.
True.
10 years ago when I became an instructor, man, I mean, nobody wanted to even get a concealed handgun permit. They didn't want to be associated with, having a firearm on their person.
And it's still like that too.
It's still a lot of people that I was talking to a guy today. He was like, "Man, I just don't want them type of problems, man. I want the gun, but I don't need the cops knowing, running my tags, knowing I got guns in the car, man. People getting shot, and it's a lot of people that's still afraid to carry their guns with them. I don't know.
Not me. Not me. I won't leave the house without it. My gun in a diaper and everything.
We had to work that way up too, right?
That is true.
Right.
That is true. And I don't, I'm okay with it. And, like I said, we talk to those people all the time and they just got that, they still have that eerie feeling. They still have that feeling where I don't feel like I need to carry it. And then soon as something happens, it's a whole lot of stuff going on in the world. I need to give me a gun to protect myself. I need to get it locked up. No, you don't need to get it locked up.
I think a lot of people look at that as though I don't have to carry it because I see all these events that can happen on a daily basis or whatever, and they think it's an astronomical probability that it will happen to them. Mm-hmm. That's why they feel like they don't have it. Like, what's the chance of somebody really coming to the Walmart to shoot it up?
Right. Well, even if it happened, you want to, you might not have the skill level to defend it because you are a novice shooter. Right, but I mean, you got some form of protection, right? So, just being able to be willing to grow in that and be willing to participate, because I mean, training is
that brings me back to this full circle, but that we not willing to do that right now.
Right, but training should be fun. There shouldn't be anything intimidating about training. Mm-mm. Right, it should be absolutely fun. It should be relaxed. Everybody should be able to come and have fun. I mean, that's just the bottom line, because at the end of the day, any training session is just a range day, right? If you want to minimize it, you're learning skills, but it's a range day. It's an opportunity for you to come out and get some trigger time, learn some new skills, put some new stuff in your toolbox and be done with it.
And I feel like people take the word training too serious. Like, they don't feel like they can just go on their own and do it. They have to have somebody. That's not true either. They feel like they have to have it in a way.
Yeah. I was about to say the same. To an extent, yeah, you do need somebody to kind of.
Yeah, you can, but still, if you're going yourself and already have that mindset, I'm gonna just go shoot 100 rounds, see what I can do myself. You're training.
Right, that's absolutely true. You are training. Right?
You're training, regardless if you have someone critiquing you or not. You're doing what you're supposed to do with that gun.
But let this man talk.
The problem
now, so hey,
so the problem is though, most people only shoot once a year, and if you shoot more than once a year, then you're actually doing better than most, and that's still not nearly good enough. There's so many people out there that literally only go to the range once a year, and that's for 30 minutes, just to say I shot the gun. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest problem that a lot of people have is, why should I spend, money, or why should I pay an instructor to show me something? Or hell, just flat out say, well, that stuff is expensive.
Well, it's the same reason you go to a mechanic. It's the same reason why You know, like I said,
You
when
go
I
to a
got out,
doctor.
same reason you go to a doctor, the same reason
But
why people ask me that when, you know, I went to go work on that air conditioning or whatever. You paying for my knowledge. That's what you're paying for. Because if everybody can do it, then I would, you know what I'm saying? If everybody could do what Richard could teach, then he'll be out of a job.
but I mean, if you think about just that statement alone, though, Black people don't go to doctors.
Yeah, I feel
Black people will wait to the last minute to take their car to the mechanic until it's absolutely broken down. I mean, it literally boils down to cost. Don't want to spend the extra money for whatever that thing is.
people
Yep.
don't
You
even
already
want to buy
Black people,
ammo.
black
Don't
that's
even
what
people,
I'm
want to buy
saying.
ammo. You know
Like
what I'm
in
saying?
their
So let
mind,
alone training.
they've already spent all this money. To them is a whole bunch of money on whatever the gun is, and they purchase the ammo, and they're like, well, I gotta buy more ammo, I gotta pay for training, I gotta pay for that. Like, to them, it's costly to do all these different things instead of going into it realizing that it is a cost, but you have to train. It's not a
Right.
one-time cost, it's a constant cost.
I mean,
but
if it's
we
like
say
that,
that.
you shouldn't even buy the firearm, though. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
no,
You
But
no.
know,
that's not the
Definitely,
mindset, though.
definitely cop the gun. Definitely cop.
no,
Listen,
bro. Like,
definitely cop it.
it's
Right.
people that buy a gun and say, "Yo, hey, you know," I'm like, "Yo, you need a box of ammo?" No, I'm good. Well, you got any ammo? No. So I'm like, then what
Which
you
is
But
a
we
keep
are.
real
doing?
But
good.
listen. But listen. We are still the biggest consumer right now. Right? I mean, 5 years ago there was no gun commercial with a black person in it, and now you see you got black women, you got black kids, you got black men standing there with a gun, and you know that's very like they don't want to see no
That's a
black man
milestone
standing
right
there.
there.
Right? They don't want to see no black man standing there with no AR-15. Right? But we in there now. Right? The problem is, I mean, instead of us consuming the firearm itself, you can only shoot one gun at a time. How about you learn how to be proficient with that gun before you go out and start buying, you know, a FN, or, you know, start getting, you know, custom rifles built because you don't know what to do with it. And the instructor that you probably in his backyard learning from don't know what the hell to do with it either because he ain't training either.
Yeah, I was thinking about them custom ARs. You been in the AR and they hadn't even shot it yet. Don't
Right.
even know
I
how to
mean,
get it.
I look at some instructors and I can tell when they're shooting, I can tell what they don't know. Right. So you can't even present that to because you aren't training. You aren't being a part of you bringing people to your house at the woods and you letting them shoot in your backyard and you charging them because they can run around and shoot still targets or whatever the case may be, right? Like, come on, man. Like, you should not take a class and not get a certificate, right? With nationally recognized credentials. I don't care if it's a pistol class, a rifle class, a missile class. If you take a
Preach,
class,
preacher.
they should have some credentials from a missile training facility to put on that piece of that certificate. Right? So, I mean, you can rent land and go shoot all day long, but get quality training. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Know what you're doing with that firearm because that bump in the night come and you don't know the difference between your magazine release and your slide stop. That ain't gonna help you.
I mean, you can take it with a grain. It's almost like when people starting going to the gym for the first time. Same thing. You don't know what you're supposed to eat. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. You don't know if to start on the treadmill. You go lift weights. It's the same thing. Same concept.
You know, I mean, I just feel like it is.
Right. I feel the same way, kid.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Kitty just said that's bullshit.
Go get it.
But
that word for her first word.
I don't know, man.
Uncle Sean says bullshit.
I just feel like
look at this comment right here. It says our people are also embarrassed that they don't know. And
Yes,
that is that you have.
that is very true.
That is very true. 100%. Like,
That's almost like you telling somebody you can't fight. That's
Hey,
embarrassing.
listen. Well, that's what
and the sad part is out of that comment, out of men and women, it's always me the man. Because black men are.
I'm so glad you said that.
I'm keeping that in the stack. I'm keeping it in the stack though, because when it comes down to the black male, we're gonna be like, I know, like out of when you already know when we had the gun shows, if you're explaining something to somebody about the AR banks, what's the first thing that the black man said out of his mouth? Yo, no, no, yeah, I know. No, yeah, I know. It's typically the women that are sitting there. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh my God. Well, how does this work? How does that work? What about this? Well, what about this? How do you take that down? What about this? What about training? What about that? The men, oh yeah, I got an HK. I shoot CZs all day. But let me get that Taurus though. Get out of here, bro. We already know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think that's a excuse me. That's a very strong statement right there to say that a lot of people are embarrassed to say that they don't know something, especially for first time, like I said, first time gun owners, or just even walking up first time at the gun show. You might not know what to say or what question to ask.
I mean, that's a fair point. We really, I mean, I can understand it's an ego thing, right? It is an ego thing, and I talked to Rich about this the other day, right? You know what I'm saying?
Y'all argued about it the other day. Go ahead.
We're gonna probably argue tomorrow too.
Right.
No, I ain't about to argue with you. I'm not doing it. But it's a fair point. But it really boils down to the male ego. Like we don't want because we want to be the one to teach our significant others how to shoot, even though we don't necessarily know what we're doing ourselves. And one thing about women is it don't matter, who you are, they ain't gonna listen to you, right? It's just they just not.
But I think too. I mean, in my years of experience in doing this, I never make the class in a way where what you know has to be applied. You're all going to learn, and if you know anything at the end, you apply that, right? But everybody learns at the same pace, so it's not about what you know or what you don't know coming into the class because we all gonna practice the same thing. We all gonna do the same thing at the same pace.
Right. And we all know that if you pull the trigger with a bullet, it's gonna go bang. So
right. So I mean, to diffuse that and to plug the classes at the same time, don't worry about what you don't know because I'm not gonna ask you what you don't know. You're gonna take the class and we're gonna do it all together. Whatever we're doing, we're gonna do it all together. Right. So ain't no spotlight put on nobody for nothing. We're gonna learn. The curriculum is set. We're gonna follow the curriculum, do what we need to do, and you're gonna get what you came for. If you already know it and you came for a concealed handgun permit, you're gonna get that at the end. You just gotta do what everybody else do. And if you already know, show off a little bit. If you don't, ask questions. Right.
So if we're getting and so obviously we're getting down to the nitty gritty in terms of what we think the root cause might be. So if that's the case, and the reason or one of the reasons why we don't go out and get more training um, outside of priorities and money is the feeling of being embarrassed or having other people see what we don't know. What is something that we should be driving and pushing and telling the folks, to kind of change that culture, so we can get more people in to start training, and being vulnerable in a sense, to show people like, hey, I don't have it all together. I'm still learning, and I want to learn.
I'm gonna say when we talked about this the other day, but I think in general in the black 2A community, we as the leaders, the instructors, and the FFLs, the gun dealers, we got to be unified, right? And make it a comfortable place for people to come and to learn, right?
right.
And not have divisiveness amongst us. I mean, because really, it's a you don't know like who you going to take a class from. You don't know how long they've been shooting. It's a lot of instructors that been shooting for less than a year, and then they sitting there trying to teach somebody how to manage recoil, and you don't know how to manage recoil yourself, right? But I mean, we all learning, like we all growing in this. We're all training. We're all developing, and being able to create and present an environment for new shooters to feel comfortable with whatever knowledge base they got. Right, and that's our responsibility as the people who know.
All right, so I want to take a point that you made. So do you, and ask you a question to that. Do you feel that uh, if you've been in the game of shooting less than a year and you're becoming an instructor, do you feel like that you should be able or are qualified enough to teach people after such a short amount of time?
I mean that people's. I
Or
can't.
does that depend on the person and how well and if they're actually training or not?
Man, I can't speak on that. I mean, my preference is, would in a year, like you're still learning, right? Everybody's still learning. I mean, I'm still learning as an instructor. I don't want to say that you shouldn't be an instructor, but I mean, you got a little ways to go at a year of instructing, right? Um, so I mean, it's just if you only been shooting for a year, it's hard to say, man. I mean, if you just got your driver's license last week, should you be, driving cross country?
Damn, Skippy.
I mean, it's up to you.
Yep.
It's up to
I
you.
drove cross country without a license. So yes,
Oh,
you got that right with
Lord.
you.
Put a
hey,
police. Put a police
I
there.
mean, shoot, I mean, I don't know about that. But commercial
That's
break.
fine. I'm still here.
Yeah, but it's good. So I'm going down to the comments. It's good that you encouraging people to come out, and ask you questions, in the DM and stuff like that. I feel like that's a great thing. Um, and there are more and more people.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
There are more and more people, asking questions, and you don't necessarily have to ask those questions, in a public setting. If you want to know something, I'm sure there are avenues. One, people call us all day, and I'm sure people constantly on Richard phone, just trying to seek some type of knowledge, and I feel like that's okay.
And I
At the
give it
end of
away. I give it away.
And I mean, as well as I feel like we all should, to a certain extent, um, because one thing about the black community is we don't like to give out a bunch of information. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the topic, it could be guns, it could be business, it could be I don't know.
Yeah, because everything is crabs in a barrel with us.
And I feel like that is also one thing that could be hindering us in the terms of getting more training and getting people to see the importance of training. You know,
Right. But I mean, we got people. Instagram is fine. Social media and stuff is fine, right? We have to create an image in our own community where these things are acceptable, right? But if you ain't out there training, you don't know. You could have been an instructor for 6 months and been shooting for 3, right? But if you go out and you get training, you're gonna be better than an instructor who just been teaching classes for the last 5 years, right? We got to create that image. We got to make it okay. We need people who have the access, the know-how, not even the know-how, but have the influence to actually get out and start shooting themselves.
hmm.
I mean, I can say, from meeting a bunch of people and, finally, I guess some people are starting to see the light of Black gun owners and Black people training. I just feel like content is everything because social media drives so much, especially in our community. We see these things and be like, oh, well, I want to do that, you know. So I just feel like, just speaking on our behalf, we continue what we're doing. I feel like that influence will embark on a lot of things. We're seeing more Black dealers come up, and we're seeing more trainers start to come out. We're seeing more people wanting to get training. Yeah, we'll have those one or two be like, "No, I'm good," but it'd be like, "Y'all do training too? Oh shoot! Well, let me go ahead and buy my gun right now, and I'll see y'all in April." So we get that one in the field or those few people, and people just got to start somewhere. And I just guess it's on everybody's own time. You just have to get that, be comfortable, and start somewhere.
Well, to that point, having an environment that is uh, comfortable and conducive to kind of breed that type of training, and for people to get comfortable with joining said activity, you know like Richard does a good job in the classes of getting everybody to kind of relax a little bit, and let the guards down and stuff like that. And when we get down the range, then you want to talk shit, and people for
I
some
can't wait
reason,
till April 2nd, boy.
people thoroughly enjoy having us hearing us go back and forth for whatever reason. But I'm gonna be the bigger man, and I ain't gonna I ain't gonna let Richard, because he keeps trying to
Bullshit.
he keeps trying to
Sorry.
get under my skin, like but I'm gonna be the bigger man,
My lips look so pretty in this camera. Wait till they start moving on April 2nd.
Oh
I'm gonna make sure that the battery's dead in my headset.
Right.
Um,
All you gotta do is sit in the truck. You ain't gotta get out. Just sit in
oh,
the truck.
you right? Hey, that's probably what I'm gonna do too, because I refuse. I ain't doing it. But people, thoroughly enjoy, that type of environment, and you know, and that's what we like. We want everybody to be as comfortable as possible when we get out there on the range, or just in a learning environment, in general. That's what we always strive for, and and I feel like the more we continue to bold that, the more people, and I feel like the bigger the community will get. You know, it's a good thing with social media, to a certain extent, but Richard and I, we talked about that several times, to where social media can kind of, and YouTube can kind of give people like a false sense of what they should be working on, you know, because some stuff does look cool, like,
But
one
that shit'll
reload
get
one.
your shit pushed back real quick. Believe me.
Lord. You
Believe
right
Yeah.
me.
about that.
All right.
It looks fun, especially when somebody running a montage and things like that, like that stuff is cool and it's entertaining. And that's part of the reason why we're getting, so excited again, about, guns. And that's okay, you know. But I think the people still need to realize and understand that, that showmanship, that is, competition style stuff, that is, that's social media, and that's,
Years of practice.
yeah, and they don't necessarily translate to, real world application. You know what I'm saying? But how do you get people to see the difference in the two?
I mean, but even still, I mean, it the gun ain't only about self defense. The gun is about recreation too. So if you like that, there's USPSA competitions, IDPA competitions, IPSC competitions, trap shooting, right? Like, I mean, rifle shooting. I mean, whatever you interested in, make it recreational, right? Because if you really want to learn how to defend yourself, you can't do that with the gun sitting in the nightstand, right? You got to pick the gun up and use it. So that means you got to do something fun with the gun. Have fun with it. I mean, it's the same thing I say in the class. Have fun with the gun. You got to learn how to have fun. Your training should be fun. Everything that you do with the gun should be fun. You should be safe, but I mean, it should be something that you enjoy, right? Whatever discipline it is, right?
Fun and
Go do it,
fundamental.
right? Fun. That's it.
Fun and fundamental.
you know. But I mean, I feel like we're all getting to a good headspace, right now. As Black gun owners in America, we have a long way to go. But I feel like, through the help of, a lot of these prominent, content creators, I feel like, we're making those strides and those steps to, you know, getting us out of the uh, I don't know. I'm not really sure the term that I'm looking for, but
Hiding the gun under the table.
right there you go.
That joke killed me,
Right.
boy. You sitting in the class and you got the gun underneath the table, like
Like, and Oh no, that's a fair point. So the last thing, I wanted to talk about, before we get off tonight, man, is the difference in the views of the people based on region here in the U.S. And what I mean by that is, people up north, they tend to look at things differently. Especially those on the West Coast. They look at guns completely different than we do, here in the South. And everybody's views, depending on where they live, vary. When it comes to guns. I down south, of course, Texas, and we're at the top of the South, but we love firearms. We realize how much of a sport and a self defense need that it can be. But there are others that from other places that really don't think the same way. And when they see firearms, just simple firearms like ARs and things like that, not even necessarily tricked out, or anything like that, they were like, man, that's a big gun. I mean, that's crazy. And it's so, bizarre to them that, it's just another thing to us, what are your thoughts on that? Anybody?
Well, I just feel like, we have a little bit more luxury of going outside and shooting in the backyard. Not particularly saying Richmond, but some of us do in Richmond have that luxury to go out and shoot in the backyard, where the houses up north are all literally smashed together and your back window is somebody else's back window. So they really don't have that luxury of anything. And I feel like New York, they can't have any guns at all. So I
Not
mean,
legally. They got them up there
right?
though.
They
Yeah,
can't. Yeah,
right, right.
they got them there, but not legally. Not supposed to have them. So it's like I just feel like it just depends on the laws in each state.
You like people in the northwest of this country, or in the northeast of this country, are literally, like afraid of the guns that we
Yeah.
carry on us every day. It is looked at so taboo to them that it's just like, I can't believe you guys carry those on you every single day. And it's really just interesting to hear people's point of view, when it comes to firearms. Like, yeah, they have gun ranges and things like that, but not a lot of people frequent those, and there's not, especially in counties and states where, you're not, you got to go through an arm, give up an arm and a leg just to get the permit to carry one or have one in your possession. They
I.e.
just look
Maryland.
at, right. Well,
DC.
yeah, Maryland, but I think, even in Maryland, they still like their guns up there. They just don't
They
want to
do
go
this
through.
shit. It does. You do have to go through an arm. You got to give up an arm and a leg just to get a permit to carry a gun.
I think DC got them Trump times
Well,
10.
Oh yeah,
there are
well,
specific
there's
reasons why DC
I
you can't carry a gun,
understand
which makes
that,
sense.
but like I said, I talked to the chief of police
Only
in
POTUS lives up there.
in DC, and she was just like, she was so overwhelmed by our gun purchasing in Virginia. She was just like, "Wait, y'all don't have to go through this." I'm like, "No, ma'am, we can sell, a rifle and shotgun to anybody." You
She
know,
know that because she buy her guns from Virginia. Don't trip.
yeah, I knew she
No,
knew
I
that.
don't know that. I don't know that for
But
sure.
however, she's like, well, when y'all sell to DC, citizens of DC, do y'all have to send us the information and transfer? And I said, no. If they buy a rifle or a shotgun, no, ma'am, not in Virginia. But if they buy a handgun, then yeah, we'll transfer. We have to transfer it to an FFL in DC. But she was like, I honestly did not know that. Like like I can tell in her voice that she really didn't know that. It was kind of scary to me. I was like, oh, okay. Like I was like, did I tell you too much? All right, bye. Like I wanted to hang up the phone because you just said,
right.
you just like, whoa, okay. But like you said, like I just feel
I
like,
think it truly
we
depends on the state.
right. Me too. That's how I
Like
feel like. It's on the state.
obviously down south, You're going to see a lot more people that are huge proponents of carrying a firearm. Um, Being that I lived in Virginia as well as we lived in Arizona, Arizona are huge advocates of carrying a firearm. So um, obviously, like I said, and it's the difference between what the laws are in Arizona compared to what they are in California. Obviously, California is a lot more strict, so you're gonna have a lot of people that are just like, these are the hoops I got to jump through to get a firearm. I just rather not do it.
Right.
So
I would
we
say it
have
has a
people
lot to
coming
do.
to. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would say that it have a lot to do with not just like the state laws, but the politics. Whether you're in a Republican state or in a Democratic state, as well as the local crime rates. Like California had still has a huge gang problem. So for them, cracking down on firearms is big for them. Same thing in New York. That's something that they are, at least in the city, it's something else that they probably deal with. So I feel like those things they take into account, at least for those places. Like in Virginia, we have a big crime problem, but it's not necessarily.
Well, Chicago, you can still get a gun. And how many times was they number one?
I don't even know. I don't know. But I would say it definitely has to do, at least bare minimum, with whether or not you're in a Republican or Democratic state, because that's usually who makes the rules.
Yeah. So we get a lot of people that come in the shop from that have moved here from New York, and um, they literally are afraid to ask us questions, about purchasing a firearm. Like you can see them get nervous, uh, and they like, well, hey, I mean, how do I get a gun? They're like, am I allowed to? And I'm like, are you a resident of Virginia? I'm like, yeah, I just moved down here, you know. And I'm like, what do I need? Like, I mean, is it cool if I? I'm like, yeah, man, relax. Like, it's all right. You in Virginia now. Like,
Well, that could also be just
Put
from the
that
lack
shit
of
under the
knowledge of
table.
knowing, the gun laws of Virginia.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
expect somebody that just moved from New York to know anything about Virginia, to be honest.
you
Put it
know,
Not.
under the table. Hide it. Don't show it.
like seriously, like they'll get the gun. They be like, yo, can I get a bag? And I'm like, yeah, can you double bag it?
Can I drive with this?
Like I'm like double bag it. Like, I mean, what are we talking about for real? Like, you know. But no, I mean, there's just a difference in how people view guns, man. From state to state. And I just felt like that was interesting talking to a lot of people about that. But yeah, man, whatever you guys.
I
Hold on,
think, I
let's
think
bring this up. That's a fair point. The strictest gun laws, definitely equal the highest crime rates. We done named it. We done talked about it. New York, Chicago, and California. You know, all high crime rates. Areas. And in Chicago or Illinois as a whole. I mean, I don't know who's tougher to get a gun in Chicago or New York. It's really neck and neck. But obviously the crime rate between both states. I don't know, but people never really want to talk about that. Politicians don't want to talk about that. They just want to ban all guns, and that's where they live and that's where they die too. So I don't know. Richard, what you was about to say?
I was gonna say we just need to create spaces where people can have fun with the gun,
There
right?
you go.
To get comfortable with the firearm, to get comfortable with being around with people with guns and being safe, being responsible, right? It ain't about being perfect. It ain't about nothing. It's just about being 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 who you are with whatever you got. right? Come out, have fun with the gun, man. I mean, you take a class, the class is gonna be structured, but range days, I mean, we having fun. Everybody's gonna shoot something different. You get exposed to different stuff. You might shoot a course, might shoot, have different challenges or whatever going on at the range day. I mean, you know, guys, I mean, people bring out their bullpups that they ain't never shot before and go out there and burn it down. Have fun, right? That's all it's about. Just have fun with the gun, because anything that you can't do confidently, you're not going to do well.
And I'm gonna just add to that, Richard. We treat everybody like family.
Right.
You joke with us, we're gonna joke with you. It's nothing. Yeah, we take it serious because there are firearms on the range. However, we want to talk to people like humans because we are humans.
We take safety serious.
Safety is number one out on our list when we're out there. However, let's have fun with it. Just be proactive. Yeah, be proactive with what you earn. You earn that right. Like people that's so afraid they got that right to store. How I get my right to store? You are a person that's got that right to store. Went through that process. Don't think like that. Don't continue to think like a felon because you're no longer there at that point.
Right. Once you get them rights restored, it's game on now.
It's game on.
It's so many people that have came to us, super excited about getting their rights restored. There's so many people that came to us looking to get their rights restored, and we always try to lead them the right way. I'm happy for those people. Evidently they've earned their right to have their rights restored. And now it's time to get out there and have some fun. Speaking of which, I'm gonna segue that to our last thing. Our upcoming classes. March 12th. Well, March 12th is full. March 26th. Our non-shooting class with the Richard Turner. 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I think there is still a couple more slots left in both classes. I'm not particularly sure how many. And then April 2nd, we back there out on the range, man. We're super excited about this class. It'll be the first range class of this year.
Actually, to that point, March 12th is packed. We are full on March 12th.
Oh, yeah, we full on 12th.
Yeah, March 12th is full. And we still have 4 slots left for the March 26th class at 10 a.m. March 26th at 2 p.m. is completely full. So we have 4 more slots left on March 26th at 10 a.m.
Hey, listen, come out, have fun. You're gonna have fun in the classroom. If you don't laugh in that classroom, something wrong with me. I'm gonna just say something wrong with me.
But and on that range day,
wrong with you.
That range day,
bring every gun you got. Bring every gun you got.
Bring every gun you got. It's 200 yards. You can shoot whatever you want to. Me and Sean gonna start arguing at 9:45. The class will start at
10. First of all,
you gotta.
You're not gonna be there at 9:45.
I'm gonna put them in. Look,
Rich gonna get there at 10:30. I mean, we got.
I'm gonna get there at 10:03. You know what I mean? But you're gonna have fun. You're gonna absolutely have fun on the range, and it's an all-day thing. Come out, shoot, and have fun. You know what I mean? I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know about safety. You're gonna feel so comfortable. I mean, when you leave, I mean, you just come out and have fun, man. Enjoy it. Just have fun, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say one of the things that we need to do as a Black community is get involved in the politics, because we're talking about being a part of the Second Amendment community, but we ain't contributing anything
to make that change,
to make that political change.
Yep.
Right. And we got organizations within the state of Virginia that are very efficient at making sure we can retain our gun rights. And you can go buy a Taurus, you can go buy a Glock, you can go buy a Staccato, you can buy whatever you want to, but kick $25 off to an organization that's going to make sure you can keep it. Because we in a culture where if they lose their gun rights, we lose ours. If we lose ours, they lose theirs. And, we got to contribute to that. We got to let our voices be heard, across the board.
And that's the way you end the show.
That's a fair point. All right, so next week, Tuesdays at 9:30, man. Look, tell your friend, tell your uncle and them, your cousin and them, grab a drink, grab a cigar, pull up and, listen to us talk for an hour and a half, and if Rich is on the show, listen to us argue for an hour and a half. Um, but yeah, man, stay tuned next week. Hey, look, DM us whatever topics or conversation that you guys may be interested in, things that you guys may want to know about, that you're interested in hearing a point of view, because either we're going to tell you the point of view or we're going to read off the facts of the matter, right? So, let us know what you're interested in. Follow us on Facebook, at VA Tactical RVA, and follow. I guess you can follow that other dude, Black Rose Urban Shooter.
Black Rose Urban Shooter. Get into the action.
Black Rose Urban Shooter.
Richard swear he 007.
Right,
I ain't 007 for sure. I just like shooting. I mean, it's just what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yep. Mm-hmm. And
I can do it. And I can do it. Right.
Yeah, you all right? You good?
Oh, man, say that again. Say that again.
I've never said that you won't good.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
The funny part, and I don't want to hold it up, but a guy took No, hey, listen. I took my class maybe like 3 years ago, right before.
And that's all the time we have.
Right before the pandemic happened, and I shoot with him competitively, right? And he's then when they got out training, man, I'm learning from him. Like he's in training with some of the most proficient shooters in the realm of just possible going to get training from, and he's a beast, yo. Like. He's a beast. Like, I'm not even knocking it. So I'm always learning. I don't really care what's going on.
Well, I mean, that's the point. As long as you're willing to be receptive to information, you always gonna learn.
Hey, and subscribe to our YouTube at Virginia Tactical Shooting Academy. We're gonna be bringing some range days, some more content out there. Of course, you can find the Gun Line podcast on there. Set that notification for when 9:30 hit.
If you go on our website, all of our social media is at the bottom: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything.
All right. But anyway, man, y'all have a good night. It's time to go to bed. I'm feeling faded and X-rated.
Isn't it?